Hello YouTube, iFixItAll here, Team iFixItAll. It's the 25th of July, and I don't know if this has ever been done before or not, but in the mountains of West Virginia, southern West Virginia, I think I'm going to go for potatoes round two. I'm going to do a second crop. I planted these in, I think, third week of March, last week of March, so that's April, May, June. And I'm harvesting, and I needed to have harvested a couple of weeks ago in mid-July, but here we are. I can get August, September, October, and let them die off in November. I experienced 0 potato bugs this year. I don't know why, but the only difference I had was this year I put actual mulch from way up there, big piles of mulch, tree mulch, in with all this, but it's a joy to dig these potatoes up. They're not great big huge taters, but they're decent, and they'll put up nicely. But I just reach under here, lift up, and I see what I got, and that's how I do it. Let's see what we got here. It's just so easy to get these things out of the ground. Now, one of the things I've been wanting to experiment with is I'm pulling these potato vines up, but I notice there's little spuds on the end. That's not a spud, that's something else. The reds are more prolific with little spuds, but I'm throwing this stuff out. That landed on top of my beets. It's no good. Well, here you go. Here's probably some reds out here. Yeah, these reds have little spuds. I'm wondering if I shouldn't come out here tomorrow and clip these and replant those. I just don't know yet. Let me get these taters out of here. There's maybe more in that little hole I'm working on here. I'm doing this one-handed. But what you do, two hands, is just lift and flip, and out comes the tater. And go deep if you can. I'm just sifting for them now. Maybe I should hold the camera up here. I don't know. Looks like that's all. Nope, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. What the hell? There's another one right up against that tree. Pear tree. Interesting. Alright, let me move over to this. There's taters here. Doesn't look like it, but there was. Let's just see what's under here. These died off. So I'm going to hope there's something here. There's the seed I planted. That little guy. Here's one. Here's one. I'm trying to prevent leaving volunteers behind, but what I was trying to say, and I got sidebarred, I wonder what the odds are of, if you have your designated rows and you just happen to, on purpose, leave these spuds behind, these little red guys, just leave them. Will you have perennial taters? Because I did notice something last year. Every single volunteer red tater that showed up as a volunteer literally produced less potatoes, meaning red potatoes are very prolific. You'll have a whole bunch of littles, but the following year you had less potatoes, but they were bigger, like the biggest reds I've ever seen. You don't even see those big reds in the store. I'm not a professional per se. I'm just a guy who's trying to grow some foods. So that was, oh, there's a big white. I don't know, I must have had some extra seed left behind, and this is a hybrid hill here. Again, digging real time, of course. And it's just as simple as doing that. And sifting through until you get down to earth. Let's see what's under this one. Yeah, here we go. An example of what I'm talking about. Break that clump up. So look at all them little reds there. You know, if I left those in the ground, they would probably end up being volunteers next year. Some would say, Scott, you're digging these too early. Let them sit for a little while. Well, here's the downside to doing the Hugelkultur Ruth Stout method, which I will always do from now on. It has its ups and downs, but you got to get them early, because this media that we're growing in is conducive to mice and critters and moles. So if you don't want to get the pitchfork out, and see what I mean right there, if I just left those in the ground, would I have a garden that's perennial taters? They just keep coming back every year. I would never have to plant. All I'd have to do is just dig. I don't know. I might be in the mood to give this a try on one row, because I am going to do a second planting of potatoes. And I'll probably take this bundle that I'm throwing over there. It'll be drying out by tomorrow morning. And I'm going to pick an area to plant just the scrap that I'm tossing away. Plant those little guys. If they do or don't produce, I don't care. But then watch what they do next spring. See if I have volunteers coming up. Let's see what this one is. It's a real measly looking mound of taters here. But let's see if anybody's in there. There's a couple little guys. Littles feed your soups. Every little tater counts. Every single one. Not every hill is a winner. Not every hill is a winner. This video serves no other purpose other than to show you that I am harvesting taters in July, and by experience and by rule, I should have had these harvested a week or so ago. And now I need to get my head around that in a purpose-built mission, which is going to allow me to say to myself, every season I need to have potatoes round 2 planted by mid to late July. So that'll encourage me to get out here and get on these taters and get them out of the ground on time every time. Now, there wasn't too much in that one. This will be a red hill here. And there's little volunteers. See that? Little guys. Let's see what happens with this hill. Yeah. They're tossing behind me. I got to get that wagon closer. There we go. I got beets right through here. The deer have been just obliterating, but I've put mulch. I've finally gotten them high enough to where I could theoretically hoe them, but they're going to do real good in the mulch. They're going to have no barriers preventing them from swelling up nice and big. It's just I'm going to let them grow the full cycle, the full year. Little sprouts could be next year's volunteer. I'm not in a climate where I should be thinking of those sort of things, but I want you to know, I haven't said this too often about my garden, but I'll say it again. I avoid pesticides to the point that it's rare if I ever use them. This year I had trouble with slugs attacking my onions. Never had onions attacked before, ever. Slugs just obliterating them. Come back here, Tater. And I had to get something to remediate that. And what I did to take care of the slugs was simple solution of salt and water mix that I was spraying. But due to some weather trickery going on, I had my onions set mid-March, and we had a cold snap, and then we had a warm snap. So we had a warm snap, and then we had a cold snap, then we had a warm snap. Well, that's exactly how you cause your onions to bolt. And that's when they get that one circular stalk on them that grows like 2 or 3 or 4 feet tall. And at the end of it is this big old seed pod that tells you right away the onion is not going to get any bigger. It's done. So therefore, you have what you have. And for some reason, I probably planted like 500 onion. So I think those little 500 onion will do well enough for we take them and run them through a blender, put them in an ice cube tray, add water, and then freeze them and break the little cubes, put them in Ziploc baggies, freezer baggies, and voila, they are fresh as the day you pulled them out of the garden. They are crispy and yummy and great for a long time. So that's one way to preserve onions. We don't have a dehydrator yet. Dang it. All right, so, I'm tossing potatoes, and this is the second time it's happened. Mathematically, in space and time, that only occupies 3/4 of an inch. I'm aiming for something that is probably 50 times wider, and the past 6 throws, I've hit this handle twice. Do I need to play the lottery? There. Handle down. Jeez. Louise. Alright, nothing on that. I hope my finger's not getting in the way of the camera. A lot of times that happens, but I'm holding the camera left-handed because I'm digging right. Little tater there. 2 little taters. This is not a tripod job. Saw 2. A little and another little. Most of the reds are littles. And that's what happens to me on reds, is that reds get attacked by potato bugs very quickly. But this year I had hardly no infiltration of potato bugs. I have no idea what the heck happened to the tater bugs this year, and I'm kind of glad they didn't show. Again, could it be the recipe of the dirt? Don't know. This must be another row of taters where I threw reds and whites in the same hole because I didn't really care. I'm just trying to get rid of seed or something. I think that's what happened to me, is I had too much seed, because I did have to give away a bunch of potato seed to make sure it got used by somebody who was growing a garden. I did have a opportunity to meet some new neighbors down over the hill from us, and noticed she was well, let's just say I thought maybe she would enjoy taking a crack at growing something. So I gave her a bunch of seed. Seed's important. I don't see any food growing down there, though. I just thought I'd be nice and neighborly. But then you profile people, because that's in our nature to profile. And my thoughts were saying, my brain was saying, she ain't gonna grow no damn garden. There's no way in hell. And all I gave her was some squash and pumpkin seed. Could have put that in the ditch right in front of her house. Would have been a perfect place for pumpkin to get started on, always having moisture and all that. And then she would have had pumpkin for the fall, because the little kids she had would have enjoyed cutting up pumpkin. But nope. All right, still digging. Sounds like a pointless video, but I wanted to show you what's going on here with the taters. They're not huge. Never once ever said I'm going to grow the biggest taters or the most. But what I am saying is that you can get the potatoes out early and beat potato bugs, and never once ever put down any chemicals. Might sound kind of hippie, I know, but you need chemicals sometimes. And I'm not against pesticides to follow the instructions to the best I can and kill pests when they're threatening your crop. But why is this edge always hiding taters? What is... I've got a bunch of squash along this here fence line. I don't want to infiltrate in their area. It keeps on producing, popping taters out of this little high spot. I'm not sure what's up with that. All right, well, anyway, I got a decent wagon load going on of taters. Not too shabby. There's scale. And it's 3/4 full. You would expect more potatoes to come out of that area, but I don't know, this is all organic, you know. Nothing, no additives or nothing. So I think I'm halfway done. I got to go all the way up to there, and then various squashes and things start. All right, guys, you can have a great day. See ya.